If you're new to gacha game like Wedding Wave, well, welcome. You have a long way ahead of you. They're called gacha game because they're gacha. When it comes down to a gacha game like Wedding Wave, the main method you're going to acquire new characters or a new weapon is through the gacha system. This screen right here, the convene screen, is what we like to refer to as the summon screen. It is how you're going to acquire new characters. The first thing to pay attention to is going to be this. This is the gacha currency, and it's basically how much money you have. Starting from the yellow thing that I have 370 of, those are essentially your dollars. $1 equals to 1 chance of getting a character, or 1 currency equals to 1 pull. A pull is what we call your chance. So if you have 370 currency, you can do 370 pull. It's always going to be 1 currency equals 1 pull. The other currency work in a similar concept. That's called the premium currency. In that case, that's called asteroid, which I have 857 of. You don't really have to pay too close attention to, other than the fact that you can convert 160 of those currency into 1 pool of your choice. For the most part, we're going to be working with asteroid as our primary currency. When you play the game, you're going to get a lot of asteroid. When you open a chest, you might get like 2 to 5. When you do a puzzle, you might get 10. But most importantly is that you can also spend money with your credit card to get asteroid. That is going to be the main method of acquiring it in a large quantity. But the main thing to talk about, other than how to acquire them, is how to spend them. For that, you just click the summon button at the bottom right, and then you get a random item, hopefully a rare item if you're lucky. You notice there are 2 buttons. The difference is that one of them lets you summon 1 pull at a time. The other one lets you summon 10 pull all together at once, which basically just saves you time. Statistically speaking, it doesn't really matter which one you do. Some people prefer one or the other, and you just preference. When you come to the summon screen, you're gonna come across a bunch of tabs on the left. These are called banners. There are 5 main banners that you should be paying attention to, starting with the novice banner, the character event banner, the weapon event banner, your permanent character banner, and finally the permanent weapon banner. The main difference between the banner is just going to be the item that you can get from them. Some banner give you characters, some banner give you weapon. For the most part, you want to be looking for event banner because those have a rates of characters, which means that the jackpot is a little better, but I'll explain that a little bit later. Starting from the permanent character banner, this uses the lustrous tie as its summon currency, and it has a 0.8% chance of getting you a 5-star characters, while giving you a 6% chance of getting a 4-star characters or weapon on any given pull. The 5-star character you can get from this banner is from a limited pool of 5 different characters. They are Verena, Encore, Kocharo, Yingliang, or Jinxia. Those are the 5 characters you can acquire from this banner, and which one you get is completely random. So when you hit a 5-star item, you're gonna get one of these characters randomly, and we call these the standard characters because they are always going to be available. Now I know what you're thinking, 0.8% chance, isn't that really low? Yes, but fortunately there's a pity system. Pity system is referring to the fact that there's a guarantee for you to obtain a 5-star item when you hit a certain amount of pull. So in this case, after every 80 pull, you're guaranteed a 5-star item. It doesn't mean that it'll take 80 pull to get you a 5-star item. It can appear anytime earlier than that, and each time it appears, it resets the counter. So once you have acquired a 5-star item, in this case a 5-star characters, your next 5-star characters will appear within the next 80 pull, and it resets from here on. A similar concept applies to the 4-star item as well. Every 10 pull, you guarantee at least 1 4-star item. You can get more than 1, you can get like 2, or you can get like 3 within 1 10 pull, but you guarantee at least 1 within any 10 pull. The weapon permanent banner worked the exact same concept as the character permanent banner, with 2 major differences. 1, you're gonna get a weapon for your 5-star item instead of a character. That's why it's called a weapon banner. But 2, the most important part is that for the weapon permanent banner specifically, you can choose which 5-star item to get. So just like the character banner, there are a total of 5 different unique 5-star weapons that you can possibly get from the weapon permanent banner. But in this case, when you do get a 5-star item drop, you can actually choose which one it is going to be. So it is not random out of 5 in this case, it is guaranteed of the one you choose. Other than that, it worked the exact same. Moving on to the character event banner, the most important information for the character event banner is that it uses a completely different currency. It uses Radiant Tie, which fortunately you can also convert from Asteroid at the exact same rate. So you can also convert 160 Asteroid to 1 single Radiant Tie. This is the general recommendation of the conversion. Usually for most people, you want to be aiming for this one. Now the character event banner, generally speaking, have a feature characters. For example, in this example is Gion. this character is usually limited, which means that you can only get this characters while the banner is running. Once this banner is taken off the store, you can no longer acquire these characters, at least for a certain period of time. It is not that once you missed out on the character, you can never ever acquire it in the future. All of these gacha games like to do what we call a rerun, which is essentially bringing the character event banner back at some point in the future so that people who missed it the first time can have a chance to get it again. They might just take some time before they bring the character back, and it depends on the game, but some games can do like 2 years or 3 years before they bring the character back like once. So be a little bit more careful when it comes to that one. The character event banner works like this. It also has a 0.8% chance to get any 5-star item, as well as a 6% chance to get any 4-star item. When you do get a 5-star item, there's a 50% chance that you're gonna get the current features characters during the event. So in this case, Jian. Otherwise, you're gonna get a random standard characters banner. So you're gonna get one of like Lin Yang, Calcharo, or Verena. In the community, we like to call this losing the 50-50 because, well, you literally lost 50-50 chance to getting the character you want and getting a Garbo character. If you do lose the 50-50, which means you didn't get the features characters on the event the first time, the next 5-star is guaranteed to be that features characters during that event. So for example, if you got Lin Yang the first time, which means you lost the 50-50, your next 5-star is guaranteed to be Jian, which is the current features character. Alongside the 5-star characters that are features, there are going to be 3 4-star characters that are featured as well, which means you also have higher chances of obtaining these 3 specific 4-star characters. The 4-star work very similar to the 5-star as well in the sense that it has a 50-50. So anytime you obtain a 4-star item in the summon, there's a 50% chance that it will be 1 out of 3 of the features 4-star characters, while there's a 50% chance that it'll be anything else. In that case, your next 4-star will guarantee to be one of the characters during the raid up. Other than that, there's a pity system that works the exact same as we mentioned before. Every 10 pull guarantee you a 4-star, while every 80 pull guarantee you a 5-star. Keep in mind of the 50-50 is still there when your 5-star guarantee hit. The general recommendation is that you should save 160 pull to pump it all together at once for the character of your desire. So if you like Jian, for example, your goal is to acquire 160 pull and then just toss it all into the banner. That guarantees you to get the character no matter what, even if you lose 50-50. But there's a chance you can get it a lot earlier than 160 pull. The final thing to talk about is the weapon event banner. Now this pretty much worked the exact same as the character event banner. You know, you got your 80 pity, you got your rates up 4 stars. The main difference here is that it uses bordering ties instead of radiant ties. So again, it uses a completely different currency. And also, there's no 50-50 on the weapon event banner. When you get a 5-star in the weapon event banner, you're guaranteed 100% of the chances to get the rates up 5-star weapon. But the important thing here to mention is that the weapon on the weapon event banner are almost always going to be meant for the characters on the characters event banner. So in this case, this is going to be one of the most preferred weapon for Jian because he's the current character event rates up characters and this is his weapon. It doesn't mean you can't use this on any other character in this game, but generally speaking, they are meant to be paired together and they're made specifically for each other for some kind of reason. Personally speaking, I think if you're really invested in the characters that is currently on the characters rate up banner, then I'll highly recommend you go for the weapon as well because they pair together really well for the most part. The final banner to talk about is the novice banner, also what we like to call the beginner banner, because this is only available when you first start out the game. It is meant to give you some kind of special perks to get you into the game. And so in this case, it gives you a 20% discount as well as a guaranteed 5-star within 50 pull. You know that the novice banner will disappear after you do 50 pull, so this is only for your first 50 pull in the game, although you can optionally choose to skip this banner. The thing with the novice banner is that single pull is not going to be available and you have to do 10 pull at a time. But instead of costing you 10 currency to do 10 pull, it will only cost you 8 currency to do 10 pull. So again, there's a 20% discount for the currency you spend. But most importantly is that it guarantees you a 5-star characters at 50 pull rather than the traditional 80 pull, which is what you see in the characters permanent banner. Other than that, it worked the exact same. The guaranteed 5-star you get is completely random out of the pool of the 5 standard characters, and to remind you again, that is going to be Lin Yang, Verena, Jinxian, Calcharo, as well as Anchor. Now you might be wondering, What happens if you get an item you already own? Good question. We call it a duplicate. You see, there's actually values in getting duplicate in a gacha game like this, and for the most part, they will power up your existing item. For example, let's say you have one copy of Yinlin. We call this her first base copy. Your first copy of Yinlin will allow you to play the character Yinlin, and in this game, it's called a sequence 0 Yinlin because it is the base refinement. Any additional copy on top of that will allow you to power up your Yinlin in the form of a sequence, which basically give them bonus effect. So if you have 2 copies of Yinlin, you start from sequence 0 for your base copy, your second copy will turn it into sequence 1, and therefore it power up your Yinlin. You don't just get 2 copies of Yinlin, you can't put 2 copies of Yinlin in the same team, you simply get 1 stronger Yinlin instead. But this is not necessarily the same thing for weapon though. For weapon, you can again acquire multiple copies of the weapon, but they do not automatically turn into power-ups. Weapon, you can choose to remain to be separate copies. So let's suppose you pull 2 of the same sword. You can choose to have 2 copies of the same sword at their base copy, or you can decide to combine the 2 of them into 1 stronger copy, similar to the characters. In this case, when you combine the weapon together, the bonus effect on the weapon will increase. For example, instead of saying something like increase your skill damage by 5%, it will now be increase your skill damage by 10%. You can combine up to 5 of the same weapon into its maximum form, which we call Refine 5, or you can combine 7 copies of the same characters into its maximum form, which we call Sequence 6. Because you start from sequence 0 and each additional copy add another sequence on top in addition to a powerful effect. For the most part, we don't recommend you to go beyond the base copy just because the gain you get is very marginal, and so getting the base copy is what we like to call maximum of free to play. But if you are really rich and you just really want to see your characters are super powerful, then people will go above and beyond into getting the full 6 sequence as well as the full 5 copy of their weapon. In that case, we call you pay to win. A very big disclaimer to make right here is that you do not need to spend any money to have fun in this game. You can beat every single thing in this game even as a free to play. Paying just allows you to get more powerful a lot quicker or reach height that otherwise you couldn't reach. If you have a sequence 6 characters, you're gonna be able to do damage that free to play player will never be able to achieve. Well, that's on you. Speaking of pay to win, I'm sure you're asking yourself, how much does it cost? Well, this is the fun part. Starting off, there's 2 things you can buy. First, you can straight up buy the premium currency directly. Or 2, there's a cheaper way, which is you buy the subscription. The price is going to be $100 for 6,480 asterite, which is about 40 pull. Although there is a one-time top-up bonus that you can get, which basically double the amount of asterite you got at the first time. But that's it. It's $100 for 40 pull. Now, fortunately, there's a significantly cheaper method, and that is the method that we would recommend if you're looking to spend a little money on the game, and that is the monthly subscription. It costs you $5, but it gives you 3,000 asterite instead. The trick here is that your asterite are distributed evenly over your next month. So you get 300 upfront, and then you get 90 every single day you log in for the next 30 days. If you missed it, so if you didn't log in for a day, you will miss out completely on the 90 asterite you're supposed to get per day. So this incentivizes you to be playing every day, but if you do, this is significantly cheaper than just buying the asterite outright. Please do know that you cannot stack this. You can only have 1 subscription active at a time. So you can't just be like, oh, I'm gonna buy 10 subscription and have 900 asterite come in a day. No, you can only get 90 asterite each day you log in, and you can only have 1 subscription active. So if you're looking to spend a large amount of asterite at a time, unfortunately, you just have to buy them straight up, and that is again the pay to win method. Now, if you're free to play, don't worry, because the game do give you a certain amount of currency every single patch, but it just don't give you as much as you would probably need to acquire every single character in the game. So if you're free to play, it is very important for you to choose which character you want and then save all your currency for that character for when their banner actually come out. If you're free to play, you can still acquire majority of the characters, but you should be really careful because sometimes they might make a character that you really like, and then the next patch they come out with a character that you like even more, and now you have no currency to pull for it, and you are forced to swipe. Or you could wait for the rerun. If you're ever wondering if a new specific character is worth pulling for, I'm going to be evaluating each character in the game when it do come out. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, this would be a very good chance for you to subscribe. This video ended up being a lot longer than I thought, and I ended up spending a lot of time talking about this, but I think this is really important for you to understand each and every single aspect of, because this is probably the most important system in the entire game. And you should be very careful around the gacha system, because a lot of people fall into the trap of either spending a lot of money or not properly saving their currency for the character they do like. So again, please follow for more tips, because this is really important. Probably the most important thing to talk about in this entire game. Okay, with that being said, bye bye.